Summer of soccer has been spectacular while things are winding down in Europe and South America. We're just getting started. The Gold Cup's about to begin. It's quite a time commitment to watch all these games. No complaints, but if you're like me and you're at home in the family and every waking minute you're watching a game and it kind of takes up the whole day, you're going to get some long looks from wives and kids, right? Or significant others. And we really look at this European Championship, which has been a huge success. I mean, let's not forget, this is a tournament that is called Euro 2020, and we're playing it a year later. We didn't know we were going to play it. And now that it's running, you almost forget about COVID in many cases. It has been a huge success. Great players, great games, big nations coming up, an incredible amount of storylines. And in the United States, which has been the undiscovered country for soccer success, the numbers through the roof. People are paying attention even when they're watching games in the morning, at lunchtime. Numbers increased by 30, 40%. They're going to get huge numbers for the semis and the final. You take notice. You go over to Copa America, which barely happened, and we see all the limitations in that continent, certainly when COVID hits. And we hope we don't have a COVID situation moving forward, but the Copa America, even though they have this dream final with Brazil and Argentina, has paled in comparison to what is happening over in Europe, which has seized the moment. So we're here to see if we can get Copa America some help, all the while helping out the Gold Cup and CONCACAF as we create the Super Tournament of the Americas, El Torneo de las Americas. For our Spanish-speaking fans, it sounds better anyway. Usually things always sound better in Spanish. And create a competition that can match the Euros so that the Americas can be prepared for the World Cup and can have an even bigger windfall of money and everything that comes with it moving forward. This is the Soccer OG. This is where we talk about avant-garde ideas like this. So subscribe, hit that button. Hit it up. We got some ground to cover here. Thank you for all the support. Check out the Soccer OG podcast. I got one out there right now with Stu Holden as we break down the Gold Cup 23-man roster. It is very good. Another one coming out this weekend. So, how can we make a tournament of the Americas that can parallel, and it will, if it ever happens, with the Euros? It obviously seems far-fetched, but in 2021, ideas aren't so far-fetched. We never thought we would have replay in this sport. We do. Never thought we'd have a 48-team World Cup. That's coming. And also a World Cup in the Middle East in winter. So all these things that we said would never happen are happening. When they say they're going to have a World Cup every 2 years, don't push it off like it's a joke. When FIFA says like that, I truly believe it could happen. So don't be surprised if it does. So the Americas can't sit around and say we have our own thing and watch the sport grow elsewhere. The Gold Cup is limited by its members. You have USA, Mexico, then a drop-off. All due respect to everyone, while we've seen some progress from Costa Rica and Honduras and maybe now from Jamaica and Canada, it's just not matching it. CONMEBOL has that, but they only have 10 members. It's a strong unit, hardest World Cup qualifying that's out there, and these 10 members have the heavyweights and the nations that so many people turn to for entertainment. But they have those limitations, as we said, with regards to the Copa America. Take this year, only 10 teams played. You had an absolutely obsolete group stages, which eliminated Venezuela and Bolivia, which I could have told you what would have happened way in advance. You had the teams pull out, and Copa America is just, it needs that boost. We had that in 2016 with the Copa America Centenario, and that tournament was incredible. The problem is the Gold Cup didn't have their hands on the money. And you've got to find a way where CONCACAF and CONMEBOL shake hands and agree to something. I still believe this is very far-fetched, but the way things are moving, you can't stand on the sidelines. And the reason it's got to happen, it makes sense for both sides. And as they say, a high tide raises all ships. South America has the better talent. And it has the biggest name in the Americas in Brazil. And regardless of who plays for Brazil, they are still the Seleção, the most marketable country probably in the world year in, year out. Fans from all over the world who are not Brazilian call Brazil their favorite team. You could say Argentina's next, but without the superstar player like a Maradona or a Messi, it's just not on that same level. Argentina is very isolated at the bottom of the continent. And look, a country that's now in a lockdown has had all sorts of economic issues and issues across the board. That means that they could use some help. So when you look at the members of both Americas, South and North, Brazil stands at the top. Second is Mexico. Mexico has the appeal. Mexico has the fans, has the money. At the Gold Cup without Mexico, it's just, we can't do it. Mexico does everything. Mexico brings the interest and the fans, so much so that we can have an opening game for Mexico in North Texas, and they've already going to have 80,000 fans wearing El Tri uniforms. After that, the next countries that have the appeal, and I won't say in any particular order, although I would say the United States before too long could be that number 3 when you talk about success on the field, infrastructure, organization, stadiums, you name it. It's USA, Argentina, and Colombia. All due respect to Uruguay and Chile and Paraguay, those countries are so far away from the epicenter that I don't think that they carry that weight, even though they have the talent and have the success in the World Cup. They're not exactly non-binding members. They're important to this process. So you have those 5. Colombia's big, northern cone of South America. So many Colombians in the United States as well. Also a big sleeping giant of CONMEBOL for so many years. And then it trickles down to the rest. 10 members of CONMEBOL, and if you have a tournament of the Americas, 6 members of the CONCACAF. We had that exactly in the 2016 Copa America Centenario. USA, Mexico, Costa Rica, Haiti, Jamaica and Panama played in that competition with the 10 members of South America. USA and Mexico won their group. Costa Rica beat Colombia. Panama beat Bolivia. So CONCACAF got results. USA made the semifinals. Mexico lost to Chile by 7-0. I still can't believe that happened. But this was a breathtaking tournament. As we said, South America has the best talent, but North America has that infrastructure. It's a word I'll use a lot here. You have these incredible stadiums. You have a very easy to manage countries where you can do big things at an instant. And I include Mexico in that as well. And keep in mind, the leagues in North America, Major League Soccer and Liga MX, are now bringing in South American stars in the droves. So, and it's been happening for years in Mexico. Now it's coming more commonplace in Major League Soccer. So you have those lines getting blurred and those connections. A lot of red tape for this to happen, I understand. And it's going to be very tricky, I think, we're always talking about it, whether it's the Copa Libertadores to bring those clubs. It's got to happen. Or we can say goodbye, because Europe is going to dominate the world's game moving forward. All the money is there. All the leagues are demanding billion-dollar contracts to show their product. It can happen here, and we've seen it how Liga MX and Major League Soccer are trying to create a relationship. But we can go beyond that and think about this competition. We just got to get the bureaucracy out of it. And that's a big issue. And I think most people say it couldn't happen, but I think it is something that could sooner than later. When you look at Europe, and I mentioned that the 5 nations the 5 nations from the Americas that could kind of push up, and then you have that nice second tier. The first tier in Europe is crazy. France, England, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, all near or around the top 15 ranked teams in the world. A next tier with teams like Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, Croatia, who made a World Cup final. It's just too strong. And CONCACAF and CONMEBOL cannot tear away at that layers unless they have an effort together. And there's reasons for them to get together here in the future. So I think it's something they've really got to kick the tires on. And Mexico and the United States make it worth the while for South America. And I think the way the Copa America was played, obviously in a year of COVID, they have to look very closely at the prospects. I think it can work because you have so many people involved that can help this grow it into a monumental success. In all likelihood, the tournament will be held in the United States because it makes the most sense. It's easy and there's no red tape or travel issues. We get it done. And that's why South America should want to get in bed with CONCACAF with that. And the TV money, you can only imagine. There's a lot there. You make it a 16-team tournament. You can't go anything beyond that. Maybe you can keep the Gold Cup in some ways as a qualifier for the teams. Obviously, USA and Mexico qualify automatically. It has to be that way. And then all the other nations battle for those next 4 spots, but you make them whole by making a Gold Cup. I think you have to take all 10 members of CONMEBOL into the tournament, even though Bolivia and Venezuela probably deserve to qualify for something like that. Maybe there's some wiggle room and you can have them in a qualifying tournament as well, although we're adding a lot of games here. Still, I think it can happen. UEFA has 55 members and they can play a Euros with 24 teams without skipping a beat. CONMEBOL has the 10, and then CONCACAF is so splintered with the Caribbean and Central America, it needs to get a little more top-heavy. This is the way we do it. This is how we roll on the Soccer OG. The Gold Cup preview show is coming up next. Maybe it'll be a thing of the past because we'll have El Torneo de las Americas here in the not-too-distant future. Subscribe, and we have a lot of games still to go.